Sometimes I consider myself American, but because the country keeps denying me of that right, I am back to not being from here, not being fully Mexican because I'm not there. I don't share a lot of the, things that I'm missing out in back home. So I guess that sometimes I just feel like I'm in that gray area of not knowing what to call myself, but just knowing that I feel that I belong here.
Effective immediately, the Department of Homeland Security is taking steps to lift the shadow of deportation from these young people. Eligible individuals will be able to request temporary relief from deportation proceedings and apply for work authorization.
The Department of Justice has advised the President and the Department of Homeland Security that the Department of Homeland Security should begin an orderly, lawful wind down.
Let's switch gears now to DACA. A federal judge in California has temporarily blocked the Trump administration's decision to end the program. What does this mean for the president and the immigration reform moving forward?
So a lot has changed and happened since 5 years ago. Right after we finished filming, Deferred Action became a real program. So by December, I applied and I was able to get Deferred Action. The teachers who hired me were the ones also watching the film at one point. So that's how they found out about me, and that's how I was able to get the job.
I don't identify just as being an undocumented immigrant, but I feel like that is a big part of who I am. And the fact that I am undocumented has made me the person I am today.
Wow, since living undocumented, there have been many changes in my life. Personally, the biggest change that I've had is that I got married. It's been amazing so far, It hasn't been all rainbows and unicorns, but I think nothing worth having is rainbows and unicorns. We are now living in Puerto Rico. Hi, Yogan. Say hi, Yogan. Say hi. Give Daddy a kiss. Hey. Give Daddy a kiss. So this is Yogan's other dad. This is my husband, Dagmar.
What's going on?
And this is our child.
When I decided to apply for medical residency, I applied to Puerto Rico due to mainly the location and the population that was pretty similar to my home country, which is Cuba.
What I loved, I think, was that we ended up finding a way to connect. And then we found, I think, that Puerto Rico, like us, was like that midpoint.
My family moved to the United States in 1981, so I was about a year old. And they came on student visas. And after about 4 years, those visas expired. And me and my brother were still here. And so by the time I was 5, I became undocumented. On the cover of Time magazine, here I am, right there. That's right there. And I remember being at this photo shoot, and we all had to say, what was our identity. I remember just thinking, I'm an undocumented American. And this cover says that this cover does say that we are Americans. When we were filming Living Undocumented last time, I think it was back in 2012, and right around that time DACA was announced, and sadly, unfortunately, I wasn't a part of it. And so it was kind of disappointing to me because I was 32 at the time, and they made the cutoff 31 and a half, something like that. Here I am today, 5 years later, without any kind of immigration relief.
That was just a very enlightening experience, being able to go back to Mexico and being able to reconnect with my roots and being able to see where I came from.
Personally, I've been able to go back to Mexico to visit my grandparents. They have changed a lot, and in my memory, they stayed the same way when I left. So then to just go back and see them older, with more illnesses that they have now, being unable to walk on their own, that was a little bit heartbreaking.
Shortly after being there, I realized that that wasn't where I belonged. And that was like the bitter part of it, because I saw that even though I had yearned so long to go back and to see my grandma, who I hadn't seen in such a long time, aunts, uncles, cousins, and they were very embracing and very welcoming. But it came to the point where I saw like, I was visiting, I wasn't home.
Immigrants are welcome here, no hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here, no hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here, no hate. How do we want it? Justice. How do we want it? Now. How do we want it? Justice. How do we want it?
When President Trump had won, I just told everybody to give a chance, and I guess within the first couple months of office, he did some travel bans from Muslim countries, and there was dreamer news stories about people being deported, and I just thought maybe the chance is over.
I was fearful for me, my family, being undocumented, knowing that he said that he was gonna just deport everyone. And even when I got to school, a lot of our children were really, they couldn't understand what was happening. They were like, but what? So they are gonna, my mom said that they are gonna send us back, that I'm not gonna be with them. So seeing that also was really shocking to see that a 5-year-old is worrying about not knowing what his family is gonna be when he goes back home.
After the presidential election, it was brought up to my attention that Living Undocumented had received a couple comments. I was a bit hesitant to go and see those comments because I knew they were, this time more than anything, they were really directed towards me and the group of people who participated in filming the first film. Should I read these comments? Should I bother looking? I was like, is it worth it? I was intrigued and my curiosity got the better of me, and I did read them. They were very mean, cruel comments. They didn't instill fear in me. They instilled more disappointment. When I filmed Living Undocumented first, I never spoke or shared my story because I wanted to impose my viewpoints on anybody else, or I wanted to change anybody's viewpoint. The only thing I've sought to do is what I love to do, which is educate. And then after reading those negative comments, I was like, well, I guess we have to continue educating, and we have to continue teaching, and we have to continue speaking.
So a little bit about the school where I teach. It's a school where, for the most part, a lot of the students come from immigrant families. I am part of the dual language program. It's very exciting to see children continuing to learn Spanish. One of the moms of one of our children came up to me after we were dismissing the kids, and she was like, oh, you know, my child said that when she grows up, she wants to become a teacher just like you. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. So just to be able to hear that, it was kind of like, it was a very interesting feeling, I would say. Because I was like, oh, if I wouldn't have had DACA, I would have never heard this before. There was no way for me to be able to be here right now in this moment and to be able to hear this from her. So when your professors told you that teaching wasn't easy, they weren't lying. In today's world, we need to be more than teachers. We need to be advocates, someone who fights for the well-being of our children. I was inspired to pursue my true calling in the field of education. Around the same time when I was trying to finish my bachelor's degree, some very anti-immigrant laws were being passed around the country. All of these laws were criminalizing immigrants, criminalizing people like my family and I. So that's when my organizing experience started. Thank you for having me here today. And class of 2017, may the force be with you.
We decided to start the Dream Team because we just thought we needed a space where we can go and just to talk to other people, where you wouldn't feel judged and people would understand. Now people know who we are at City College. Our logo is next to the school logos that at different events.
When I started to really look around at the members of the Dream Team, I knew that I look different, and that we come from different backgrounds and different religions and different cultures. But I think that's the point of the Dream Team. There is no face or no race or gender to the face of undocumented students.
When you walk into that room filled with people who have the same struggles, who care about the same issues, who are there to understand you, you'll walk out with a totally different light, with a totally different perspective.
I went to a protest in Union Square, and when I got there, I just saw so many people, and it was overwhelming because there was so much support. It wasn't just undocumented people, but there were other people there, just fighting for us.
I never thought DACA would become something that would benefit us. I always doubted the system. So when that happened and I saw how my life changed, and it was thanks to all these people that were marching, that were doing something, that were advocating for that, and what did I do? I never did anything. So I said, no, I have to do something.
Being of Mexican origin and living in Puerto Rico is a 180 from my experience in New York. There's no social status different, there's no stigmas, there's no hierarchies. I think that's something very positive that I needed to experience and that I got to experience here. It made me feel welcome, and being Mexican for the first time wasn't something bad. I'm currently enrolled at the University of Puerto Rico, Rio Piedras, and I'm part of the education program here, studying a master's in special education. As an undocumented immigrant with DACA, I'm able to live and work in Puerto Rico because Puerto Rico is part of the United States. It is a U.S. territory. Because DACA grants me a working permit and a social security number, all the benefits are also applied here. DACA has permitted me to be a teacher, which is something that I absolutely love doing.
So all your senses tell your brain what's going on around you.
I love being part of the education process of children. I love contributing to children's growth. And if it weren't for DACA, I wouldn't be able to do that because I wouldn't be able to work as a teacher.
I think a lot of people don't understand that this immigration issue, especially those who are older and don't have anything, they don't have DACA or they don't have anything, it's we kind of have to work, and this is not disparaging. We just kind of have to work at these jobs which are not career-like, and because I guess that's how we support ourselves in a sense. So just having so much time and effort in these jobs, it just kind of took away from my hopes and dreams at the time because I couldn't really move on. There needs to be some solution to all this because we're still here. My parents have been here 30 years, I've been here 30 years as well. For them never to get status, for me to never get status, there's no DREAM Act, there's no DACA for me, I think it just exemplifies how difficult it is and how arduous, complex, and not easy, as critics would say. My grandparents did it this way, they did it the right way, but I can't.
I did have an experience where I was not reminded, but kind of brought back to reality that, hey, you're still undocumented. And it was when I was traveling from Puerto Rico to visit family here in New York, and I was stopped by an immigration officer at the airport. I vividly recall my heart beating faster than ever, feeling as if it was going to come out of my chest, and I felt a rush of adrenaline, I felt hot, I felt cold, I felt every possible physical reaction that you could think of. All of a sudden, I was stopped and I was asked citizenship. I said Mexican. It was step to the side. And it was like, oh my God, I need to see passport and documentation. I was so nervous, I didn't know what to say, I didn't know how to react. Within the next few months, if Trump's administration chooses to, I can be stopped anywhere and I can be asked those exact same questions. And God knows how long I will be able to say, I have DACA and this is the immigration status that I've been given. And who knows, maybe one day that won't be enough and then it'll be step to the side and then get on this van or follow me to this room, God forbid. So yeah. Even though DACA has come, like, we still need more.
My hopes for the next 4 years are that as a community we'll become stronger, just to really stand up for each other, stand up for our Muslim brothers and sisters, stand up for the immigrant community. I feel like now is the time that all of us unite.
My hope and dream has been the same since so many years, just to become a great federal judge. For me to get to that point is just kind of, well, anyway, the point is, I need to take the first step in getting there.
It's a wrap for that.
Oh, wait, hold on, wait. I do want to say something, okay. All right, so, I did want to mention this, and I always get like, okay, I gotta go. People will always ask me why I do this. You know, my mom will always say, you know, just let the next Korean person, if they want to do it. And I always thought, for me, for other people, you know, those who have psychosocial issues about depression, suicide, I want to think about them. I think we lost so many people over the years. You know, it's great if I got married, it's great if I had DACA and blah, blah, blah. But I hope that they could follow my lead a little bit and say, okay, you know, maybe we shouldn't sweep this under the rug and that we could actually work together. Because it has to be more than just telling our stories, which we've done so many times. We've done so many video articles and newspaper articles, radio interviews. It has to be more than that. And I know people are afraid, but I think in order to get legislation done, we need to rally around this idea of causes. Hopefully organizations and individual talents will emerge so that the American public will understand that it's just not like, oh, this person is illegal or undocumented, but more about this person hopefully deserves a chance to have the American dream.
Hair, makeup.
Thanks, babe. Where would we be without you?
New York.
In New York, probably. We can put this in like the after the credits.